let's start a little bit back. How you got going in your childhood? How did you become who you are today? Looking back from the beginning.
Well, probably my spiritual life started when I was 17. My mom forced me to go to Bible camp down in Missouri. I call it misery. And she said, either go or I'll break your legs. Just kidding. And so I went down there and gave my life to Jesus. And God called me to go on a mission trip. A lady walked up and said, I see you becoming martyred. I went, okay, that's exciting, whatever that is. And so I said, all right, so I guess I'm going to be martyred, which is one reason why I didn't want to become a Christian for a long time, because I didn't want to die right away. But anyway, a couple weeks later, another lady came to me and said, I see you in Colombia and on a mission trip. So never been to Colombia, never been out of the country. So I said, yes, I'll go, raise the money in about a week, and went to Colombia. And it was down there, I had a dream that this Catholic priest was holding me up in the air and sacrificing my life for God. And I had no idea what that meant. So I asked the missionary, what does that mean? And he explained it to me, that God's calling me in the ministry. The odd thing is that I got in trouble when I was down there because I was 17. And the missionary wrote a letter saying, I wish I'd go back home and never come with him. Okay. Years later, one of those two missionaries got ordained by us. And so I caught the vision of helping third world nation people back in those days.
So you started out of Missouri, and then you got in Colombia is where you really saw the vision that this is a calling.
Right.
And what age did you really go into full-time ministry?
I became a youth pastor when I was 20 years old, and took a year off of Bible school and stayed there and started doing evangelism, knocking on doors and sharing the gospel. And the pastor said, I guess you're not really called to be a youth pastor, you're called to be an evangelist. And I said, he's probably right. And so I graduated from Bible school and started teaching evangelism seminars, and did over 500 seminars in about 30 different states.
Wow. So at what age, when was this?
I started traveling when I was about 23.
Okay.
24 full time. So I was the youngest evangelist at the time, and now I'm becoming one of the oldest.
So the reason we're really together is for your work that you're doing now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to skip the steps, because I think, the steps of the righteous man are ordered by the Lord.
Yep.
And it is a process.
Yep.
But right now you've got a very interesting situation going in Honduras.
Right.
And I know you've been doing that for, what's it, about 2008, was that?
Yes.
Okay, so 2008, at what, about the age of 50?
2008,
40,
47.
47?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to miss, is there anything big between the ages of 23 and the next 20 years where God really prepared you? It's kind of always preparing, but
yeah, he took me through stages. For example, when it comes to ministry, I would start off as a youth pastor, and then I became an evangelist for 10 years, and then started praying over people and seeing things, people trying to kill themselves, or the different details of their life, where they're from, what their name is. And so I prayed over right around 500,000 people. And then we started transitioning more into apostolic, where we plant churches, and we ordain people. So we've ordained a little over 800 people in 30 nations.
Wow.
And so we have churches and ministries and evangelists and pastors that are underneath our organization.
So this is with Impact Ministries?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So the ordination process, how do you walk somebody through an ordination process?
So first off, they have to do ministry. If you're in ministry, we believe you can be ordained. So if they're involved in ministry, they're involved, whether it's a local church or itinerant, then they can be ordained, and then they take a test. We use the Assembly of God test.
Okay.
And so they take that test. They need 2 references. And so then we ordain them in ministry. So that's one of the things that we do that we don't talk a lot about. But just new church just joined in from Ramsey last week.
Oh, good.
We had 5 staff people all join at the same time. And we transitioned. There's a guy named Dick Carboni, if you maybe heard of him.
Yep.
And so I was meeting with him, and so excited because he's very successful. He's no longer here, but very successful. And he said, well, there's a lot of orphanages. Why would anybody want to help you?
Now this is back in 2008?
In 2011.
2011.
So we had already started our orphanage in 2008.
Okay.
Because our goal was to fight sex trafficking and rescue kids.
And now that's a hot button right now, but you were on that before it ever became.
So the new movie that came out, Sound of Freedom,
Yeah.
It started in Honduras and ended up in the States. Well, we started in Honduras too. We're just not famous. But,
Right.
It's kind of the same thing as the movie is what we've done.
Yeah.
And so we started an orphanage. And then Dick Carboni said, there's a lot of orphanages. Why would I want to help you? It kind of hurt my feelings and felt sorry for myself. And when I got over it, the Lord said, he's right. There's a lot of orphanages. Why would anybody want to help you? So I went on a quest to do something unique. And I was on our mountain in 2011. And God spoke to my heart and said, I want you to build me a city. And so we started building the City of Refuge.
So the City of Refuge now is got, 82 buildings?
82 buildings. Yeah, we're finishing another missionary house, would be number 83. And next month we break ground on our supermarket. So they brought the international airport into the city we're in. So they changed it from the capital to that place. So they're building everywhere. So there's a great chance to be able to tap into that. And then we're also building a 5,000 hen chicken barn. So we will be raising close to 3 million eggs a year from an orphanage. And so we now have a top 4 farm in the nation. So there's 2 secular colleges that are actually sending their students to our place to learn how to do agriculture.
But it didn't start out as
No.
You started out as an orphanage.
Right. Started off as renting a building.
Yeah.
Until the worker ran away, took all the stuff, and then one of our workers got stabbed. So we got a location and built a building probably worth about $150,000.
Yeah.
Raised up money. And but the neighbors were throwing rocks at our kids, and they turned out the water off and on. We keep having to pay $1,500 to turn back on, and we knew there's no history there, so we moved from there, about 90 acres, and that's what started our farming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now, when you were challenged, you thought, I need to become a self-sustaining.
Mm-hmm. That happened in 2008 when gas prices were $4.59 a gallon.
Yeah.
And we were couldn't afford to pay for food for the kids because people stopped giving.
Yeah.
Complained. Prayed to God. Mostly complained. What should we do? He said, don't ever do an orphanage without a farm. So we started about chickens. They all died. And we took advice from a guy from Chicago to buy sheep and plant fruit trees. And the sheep got out, ate the fruit trees, and ran away. It was a bad experience. And our neighbor, and we planted corn, and our neighbors stole all our corn, and we just failed continually. However, kept after it, and we hired a guy, and he did pretty good at engineering. Then we hired a new guy, and now we have a top 4 farm in the nation. We feed about 4,500 people every day protein. By the end of the year, when our 3 new greenhouses kick in, and our chicken barn gets put up, and our tilapia kicks into a higher level, we'll feed over 10,000 people every day from the farm. So
Just an amazing story.
Yeah.
So, your heart was, I got to make it work. And you overcame, you persevered,
Yeah.
you persevered.
Yeah.
So there's some lessons to be learned there.
Yeah. The interesting thing is the future of Honduras farming is at our place, and it's a top 10 poor country in the earth. We're setting up an international tilapia training center, so people can fly in from all across the world and learn how to do tilapia farming and greenhouses, and we'll just keep expanding. That's why the secular colleges are tying in with us, because we can do the practicums.
So, how templatable is this for the third world?
100%. So our goal, we call it agra-evangelism. A new word God gave me about 2 weeks ago. So we want to train up people to do agriculture, because you got to eat, and then take that food and feed people, and or sell it and make money and be able to provide for yourself. There's a day coming you won't be able to send money overseas. You probably know that. One of the former presidents tried to stop that you can't send money overseas unless you want to get taxed. And I remember watching him speak on TV going like, oh my gosh, there's our end. So we had to become self-sustaining, not knowing that there'd be COVID and we couldn't work. We had to stay home and during the pandemic, whatever, and couldn't work. And how are we going to feed our kids? Thank God we started in 2008, because we're not able just to feed our kids. We could feed thousands of people.
So how, as far as ramping up, 2008, you had, you got the start, you got the vision, got the dream. You saw a lot of failure.
Yep.
When did it really, how long did it take you to really see it that this is going to work?
That's a good question. Before COVID, we started seeing the results when we built a pig barn. And the first year we had 300 baby pigs. Last year we had 1,000. And that 1,000 pigs times 50 is 50,000. And we could almost fund the whole thing just off the pigs if we didn't do all the things that we're doing. The thing is, our place is not like your average cheap orphanage with dirt floors. We're building a city. So building a city is expensive. You got a lot of infrastructure work.
Yeah.
So we're putting in a water system that's 20 grand. We put in roads. We put in walls around the property. So you're putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars under the dirt, which you can't see. And we're building a college, and we have a top 10 sports facility. So our goal is to have the number one sports facility in the nation. That the potential in the future of Honduras Olympic athletes will be at our place.
So when you talk about your place, you've got orchards, you've got pigs, you've got fish, you've got chicken,
Yes.
you have beef, and you've got eggs. Is there anything I'm missing?
Yeah, we raise all our own corn for tortillas and for the animals. We also have about 15 kinds of fruit. So we just planted 3,000 fruit trees. So by the end of 3 years from now, when they start producing fully, we'll feed 10,000 people a day of fruit. So plus the greenhouses, the vegetables. And so, everybody has grains. They live on grains. Grains are not very nutritious. They're better than nothing. They keep people alive. But we're not focusing on that because you can do that anywhere in the world for cheap. We're picking the stuff that they can't afford to buy.
So if you're in, let's say, I've got some friends in Pakistan that I keep hearing, oh, we're just poor, we're uneducated. And I'm like, well, you don't want to speak that. We want to figure out how to change that.
The key is entrepreneurism or agra-evangelism or starting companies, starting businesses.
Yep.
And so Pakistan is a horrible place because it's Islamic, and they put people in working in making bricks.
Yep.
And they sell them into slavery, and the women are sold in this marriage or sex trafficking or whatever they're doing, and it's evil. And so how do you solve that? Sending money, that's a temporary solution. You've got to provide income opportunities, and that's manufacturing, it's mining, it's agriculture, it's retail sales, it's those types of things, and it can be done. India was the poorest country, one of the poorest countries on the earth, and they took 100 to 200 million people out of poverty in 10 years, and they're not even Christian; it's Hindu. So if they can do it, what can we do with Christ?
Right.
We know how to do it. So all we need is the finances to set up the greenhouses or to buy the goats or to buy the rabbits. We can raise protein for free. You build a greenhouse, we take all the stems and the leaves and the flowers and the vegetables or fruits you don't eat, and you feed it to either pigs, rabbits, or goats.
Okay.
And so then you get protein for free, which is the most expensive food. You get dairy for free if you have goats. So the key is greenhouses and fruit trees. You take all the leftover stuff and you feed them. And that's how that works. So we believe the first two jobs in the Bible are agriculture. So it's simple. You don't have to be really intelligent. So if they are ignorant, they're not very smart, anybody can do agriculture, but not anybody can do it right.
Right.
And it takes money to do agriculture. You got to buy the land, you got to buy the vegetables and the fruit trees, etc.
Well, I really appreciate your time. I know that you got to go in and you've got a service to do, but I am looking forward to getting down to actually see your property and get a better understanding. But I just needed to, while you're in the cities here, I needed to stop and get this. So
we have had 27 countries contact us and ask us, how do you build a self-sustaining city? And that's happening. So we're getting almost every week I'm talking to people.
That's awesome.
Amen.
Awesome. Keep up the great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes, take care.